right, let's do it. Let's do it. Let me get my sound right. Let me make sure my sound is right. All right, we're Gucci. Let me make sure my Dutch is right. Let me get everything going here. I told everybody last night I was going to do a special live video today. We're going a little bit early today. Sometimes I like to do midday news. You can expect some of that coming this week, probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I might do some midday videos. So just be on the tune in. Make sure your notification bell is hit so you never miss one of my live videos. You never know what I'm going to be talking about on here, man. You never know what information I'm really going to be revealing on here or what information I'm going to be getting into. But today we got to talk about something that hits back. You know what I mean? It hits back to some of the hip hop history that a lot of us lived through. You know what I mean? It brings us back to 2005, right after the Game's album. It wasn't much later that the Game disassociated himself from G Unit after the massive success of the documentary. But after the documentary, the Game was removed from quite possibly his defining characteristic, his defining movement. He was signed to Interscope Records. He was signed to Aftermath. When the Game first got in to the music industry, a lot of people looked at that cosign like it was everything. We all saw the Game going around with the NWA chain. It looked like his debut album was going to be called NWA. You know what I mean? It was a little bit different going from NWA being an actual group to an NWA solo album. Nonetheless, the album was retitled to the documentary. Gotta say, I was a bit disappointed about that when the Game's debut album got renamed, but that actually happened again for the Game's second album. It was rumored the Game's second album was going to be called The Devil's Advocate, later renamed that I was in favor of, The Doctor's Advocate, right, you guys? And when the Game released The Doctor's Advocate, he was removed from the Aftermath label. And this is what I believe we're going to be talking about today. A few weeks back, there was an altercation with the Game and Jimmy Iovine, if you really could even call it that. I don't know if you'd really call it an altercation. These two guys, they walked past one another at the basketball game. The Game acknowledged Larry Jackson. Larry Jackson, I had known to be one of the A&Rs or one of the lead guys at Interscope who was bringing talent over. I had known him for going and linking the deal with Chief Keef. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if it was the Kanye West impact or if it was Soulja Boy actually giving the cosign, because Soulja Boy was a big entity at Interscope as well. But Larry Jackson went over and brought Chief Keef into the picture. Now, Wack 100 has revealed some other information because I haven't been keeping too up to date with Larry Jackson. It's not like Larry Jackson came to Connecticut and signed me, like he went to, Illinois and Chicago and signed Chief Keef. So I haven't so much been keeping up with those guys. You know what I mean? I'm doing my own thing. Anyways, Larry Jackson apparently now is one of the head guys at Apple, one of the head guys at Apple Music. Now, Apple Music is a deal that I believe I heard Chief Keef say he turned down at one point. I appreciate you all tapping in, really just beginning with a bit of a history acknowledgement here. Digging into some of the history that has brought us to this topic today, with Wack 100 revealing on Clubhouse that the Game's beef with Jimmy Iovine actually started with 50 Cent. We're going to dig into that, you guys, because we all know, based on the facts, the Game was only with Aftermath for one album. Right after that album, he moved over or was moved over to Geffen. A lot of people can say shit about Geffen. Lil Durk was rocking on Geffen. You know what I mean? Geffen isn't, a record label that should be like thought to be a demotion. You know what I'm saying? It's a branch of Interscope from what I know, and they probably get a similar amount of units out to all the stores back in the day. You know what I mean? Whether they were shipping to Best Buy or Walmart or any of these stores, I'm sure Geffen was shipping to a lot of the same locations. So you really can't look at that as much of a demotion. Now that whole thing has changed. It's not about shipping CDs anymore. Back in the day, they would ship so many CDs to Best Buy and Target that a lot of these artists would go gold out of the gate. You know what I'm saying? They would be going gold based on the pre-sales. Hell, I did an interview with Young LA, major salute to Young LA. And Young LA was actually telling me that his pre-sales for his album was at like 120,000 units. You know what I mean? And they still didn't release it, but that's another story. Appreciate everybody who has stayed in tune with my content and actually, checked it all out from the Young LA interviews to everything. You know what I'm saying? We got West Virginia in the building. Yeah, I wanted to come on here tonight and talk about this because it's been revealed that 50 Cent, this has been a speculation. Everybody kind of speculated, like 50 Cent had said to Styles P, one more word out your mouth, I'm gonna push Styles shit back in reference to Styles' Time Is Money album, I want to say on Interscope Records. You know what I'm saying? This is kind of in relation to that. When the game, started being a little bit unruly, was he removed from the label at 50's reasoning? Was it 50 Cent, who was at the time, nobody could doubt it, the big money maker? Even the game's record sales were hindered by the fact that he removed himself from the equation of G Unit. The first album that the game had sold 580,000 units. His second sold 360,000 units. That's over a 200,000 unit dip. 220,000 units, 225,000 units, whatever the actual number is. We're almost talking about 250,000 units here because you wanted to remove your affiliation with G Unit. You know what I'm saying? Like when it all comes down to it, that G Unit emblem, like just like I've been told in various interviews with Dipset members, that Dipset logo on the front of that album is what would sell the project. So the game removing that, like, I understand he thought he was in a position where he's like, okay, all right, I'm the shit now. I'm number one now. But, by doing that, you kind of devalue G Unit. The Dr. Dre is a genius. You know what I mean? Dr. Dre knew putting game with G Unit would provoke conversation and get people out in them stores, man. And he was right. Madman, appreciate you for tapping in. The game has got some bangers. It's all just political. Well, I mean, in all honesty, bro, the game taking himself away from G Unit, as I just explained, that's not a political. That's only political on his end to actually remove himself from the group. None of us as fans really expected that to happen. Us as fans, I think we expected the game to start moving with G Unit, much like Young Buck did. Buck being from the South, Game being from the West. A lot of the New York audience that 50 and G Unit were used to were accepting of that. And you know what? It was only right because G Unit was acquiring so many more fans from so many of the different regions that adding different G Unit members just made sense. Tyson pointing out a very, very good point. A good point because of the fact that 50 has actually dissed Jimmy Iovine on track. You know what I mean? So it's not like at this point in time, 50 Cent could go to Jimmy Iovine and be like, yo, Jimmy, I ain't liking the way Easy sounding, man. It ain't right. That is no longer here. You know what I mean? That opportunity for 50 Cent to do that is out the window at this point. But now, if we're talking 2003, if we're talking 2004, 2005, 2006, At that point in time, they called 50 Cent Curtis Interscope Jackson. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, he had one of the biggest monikers in the game. He was a part of one of the biggest trios in the game. You got your you got your big duos in the game and shit, but Dre, and 50 were known as one of those cliques that if they put the rub on something, it would pretty much go platinum. It would pretty much do units. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for Stat Quo though. Um, Yo, 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 GMC Films, major salute on the tap in. Tyson Garcia says the game thought the grass was greener on the other side when he left G Unit. Yeah, the grass would have been the most green with some flakes of purple and blue and shit in there and orange if the game had remained with G Unit and he was able to work with the likes of Nas, Fat Joe, Jadakiss, and if 50 Cent was really going to be a 50 Curtis Interscope Jackson type of guy, he should have allowed his artists to actually move. You know what I mean? He actually should have allowed his artists to do their things and bridge out and work with different artists to, sell records. You know, 50 missed out on several different plaques that could have been on his wall. You know what I mean? I've been to the G Unit offices. I've held the Moonmen that 50 Cent had. You know what I'm saying? Yo, 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 Ocho, what's poppin', man? Madman says 50 is a genius. Well, he could have been a little bit smarter if he had able the game his creative freedom. I remember a conversation I had with my guy NEXT from Amalgam Digital. He had told me he gave Max B 95% creative control. He allowed Max B to do whatever he wanted. If you want to go check out the album that Max released with Amalgam Digital, that was actually the Vigilante Season album. Well, Master, I'm not going to agree with you on that because Wack 100 is actually putting up really good techniques right now to market the game. I've never seen the game marketed better. I've got to say, when I posted a poll before, I posted a poll who was a better manager, Jimmy Henchman or Wack 100. Jimmy Henchman is the one that led the game into that beef with G Unit and 50 Cent, from my understanding. And it might have been from motives of the fact that he wanted to be a bigger mogul than 50 Cent, which is, those motives, having motives like that arise from jealousy, it's never going to end well. And look what they did. They just cost themselves millions of dollars. I was having a discussion with my guy the other night, and we was talking about actually the fact that the game was talking about 50 was getting $2 million per show. And he was basically breaking that down with G Unit. 50 would take 1.5, and then the other $500,000 would be broken down between the four remaining members of G Unit. Now, Game, Buck, Banks, Yayo was in jail, but as we all heard, Yayo came home to that cool million, as they called it. A cool million, man. It's lit. GMC Films, he has a statement here. He says the game song How We Do popped because 50 Cent was on the hook. I'm going to be honest with you, man. That How We Do was pretty much the game's best banger. Now, I'm not talking about his best song. I'm talking about his best banger. If you look at the next song that had come out on his album, The Doctor's Advocate, he had a record called Let's Ride. And I believe in parentheses, it was called Strip Club. I thought they should have got rid of that whole theme, the strip club. But the game was actually saying in the hook, let me take you to the strip club. That was not really a banger. So I will agree with you. How We Do was actually the game's biggest banger, but that record would have went either way. The way the game came on the hook, I think the best part of the record, I don't think the best part of the record is 50 going, this is how we, I don't think that's the best part of the record. My favorite part of the record is when the game is saying fresh like, Impala, Chrome High drop. You know what I mean? I think that way that they came on and then 50 actually mimicked that as well. I think that was the most interesting part of the track. Uh, but yeah, let's get into this news a little bit, man. Let's get into this news because it was interesting to hear, Wack actually go all the way back into this conversation of, the game's beef with 50 Cent. But it ultimately got brought up when there was a challenge thrown out. You know what I mean? It ultimately got brought up when there was a challenge thrown out from, an announcement made that the game has a diss track coming at Eminem. Kyle Johnson, game was a change of heart and worked at a strip club. Highly qualified says game is the problem. It is also true 50 should have let his artists shine on their own. Yeah, yeah. Big Junior, what's poppin'? Appreciate you for tapping in, man. Appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. Major salute to y'all. Appreciate y'all. Make sure if you're not subscribed that you subscribe to this channel right now so you never miss a live video. You never want to miss one of my live videos. Why? Because I interact with all of y'all. We get down to the nitty gritty of the topics. You know what I'm saying? We get down on this shit with, you know what I mean? We discuss it together in reality. Big Junior, game don't got classics without Dre. Not necessarily true. The game has worked with an array of producers. Worked with Swiss Beats. He's worked with Scott Storch, man. The guy has really worked with just about anybody out there. The game has really worked about with just about anybody out there, man. Take a look at his, just look at his first three albums. Those are the ones that I really was invested in. The first three. Once he got onto the Red album and Jesus Piece and you know what I mean, all the new albums, I fell off a little bit. I won't lie. I fell off from the game a little bit, you know what I mean? But I was all of the G Unit guys kind of they had their run and then it went on to some new shit because they were of the older generation. West Adams says 50 helped and hurt his career at the same time. Helped and hurt his career at the same time. Expand on that, bro. I'd like to hear more of your thoughts on that. Highly qualified says that Eminem and 50 shouldn't even respond to the game. Well, I don't know if 50 is going to respond to the game, you guys. I really don't know if 50 is going to respond because 50 has really never responded. You know what I mean? 50 has never really responded to the game in the past. So I don't know why he would respond right now. It doesn't really make any sense to me. The game has 50 has responded to the game so sparingly. Fifty and Eminem are on a different level than the game. Kyle, the whole thing with the game apparently having a diss record for Eminem, it's like you got to look to the past, man. Eminem has been dissing people like Nick Cannon. He's been dissing. He went back and forth with Machine Gun Kelly. So you got to think if Eminem gets dissed by the game because of their history, simply because of their history, the fact that they were, known to be on the same label with one another. They were actually known to be on the same label. They probably know each other. They've probably had multiple conversations. There might be more to the story here. A lot of like I was talking with Twiz last night. Eminem and the game could possibly have a whole relationship that we don't know about. Who knows why we never saw the game and Eminem work together again? We're going to hear on these records if we get them. You know what I mean? If we get them, if we actually get them, because Wack 100 and Game could pull back. You know what I mean? They could pull back. like I'm saying, like, why aren't they trying to do records with these guys rather than beef with them? Like, why do is is beefing with Meek Mill and beefing with Eminem really gonna make more money? Kyle says Eminem will respond when it affects his album sales. I found it interesting that Eminem seemed to drop. Didn't Eminem drop an album right around the time of that Machine Gun Kelly whole situation? So it's not like Eminem. The people behind Eminem are intelligent. You know what I mean? They know how to capitalize, just like the people behind Machine Gun Kelly were intelligent. Shit, Diddy drummed up the Buzz EP. They put out the Buzzed EP on Bad Boy Records. Diddy has always released Machine Gun Kelly's shit. I'm pretty sure he put out his new album that sold crazy. Machine Gun Kelly's last two rock albums have really done triple what any of his rap albums have ever done. Like, just to be honest. Yo, what y'all blazing on, man? What's everybody smoking on tonight? Today, I should say. Early edition. My bad, P. I was smoking, bro. My bad, bro. Cherry sour diesel. I'm smoking on some runts. My bad, y'all. Yeah, that's true, Colossal. Blowing on some OG Planet X. Trip Beam. What in the blue hell is that? Some OG Planet X. God, sounds like some gas, though. Smoking on that Gary. Smoking on that Gary Payton. I was about to get some Gary Payton yesterday, to be 100% honest with you, but I decided to go with the runts. What up, what up, what up, clever minds? Appreciate you for tapping in. With all the special privileges M has, you can call his people intelligent fool, you're biased. Yo, bro, I'm talking about the fact that when Eminem got in a beef with Machine Gun Kelly, they put out an album. A lot of people saw Machine Gun Kelly put out an EP right after he released the Rap Devil track. Some people were like, okay, this is good timing. This is perfect timing. But I like how a no name, nobody ass dude is going to call me biased because he can't even get nobody to talk in his live videos. Sorry, bro. Go to your own video. Go to your own video and do your own shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Calling my opinions bias and shit like that. I just said both of the artists had labels behind them. Eminem has Aftermath and Interscope behind him. Machine Gun Kelly has Bad Boy Records behind him. Can't understand a simple comparison. Now we look at this whole situation with Wack 100 in the game. They've got Easy out. Easy's out doing numbers right now. Hold on, let me get this fool out of here for sure. Let me get this fool out of here, man. That dude just so I be trying to like read all the comments from everybody in my live and shit like that. But then you got one or two people that just throw you off because I like to have the most interactive YouTube channel out here. I like to be the one out of any other DJ or any other hip hop personality or hip hop influencer that will interact with all of y'all. But sometimes some of the comments catch me off guard. Now, I found myself giving Eminem a big up right there with the way that his label works. So I gave Machine Gun Kelly an up with the way his label works. It's called knowing hip hop history. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people out there probably don't even know that Machine Gun Kelly released an EP. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't understand the debate. Yeah, man, it's all about the debate, GMC. But GMC, you was going in too, man. I see you're a 50 guy, huh? But let me get here. Let me get here. Thank you, Tyson. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, man. Sometimes, like, bro, that's why I gotta kind of like filter the comments a little bit that I be reading out. You know what I mean? But I be trying to show people love, but then sometimes it's like people are like, "Yo, Mikey T," like, then I end up on dudes. You know what I mean? Shit, and it's like I like helping the independent guy come up too, because I'm the same thing. Appreciate you, Kyle. Major salute to you. But yeah, I try to give a nice assessment on everything going on from both sides of the fence. You know what I mean? I try to show you guys both sides of the coin. You know what I mean? In all honesty. So that's why I've interviewed different people. That's why I'm on here and I'm like, yo, I've been to the This Is 50 G Unit offices, but I've also been to the Murder Inc. studios. You know what I mean? Like, so in all honesty, that whole like not messing with one person because of the other guy, like that shit's out the window with me, y'all. Thank you, 050. I really appreciate you for tapping in. Just give me 1 second, y'all. See. Highly qualified. Why do you think the game is trying to come at 50 and Eminem in this era? Why not go at Drake or Meek in this era? I think it makes more sense. Well, that whole thing was actually somewhat addressed on the Drink Champs interview when the game spoke on Drake. Drake has shown the game love. Drake has actually come out and recorded with the game, shot a video with him, cleared the record. I believe he able to him to put it on one of his albums. Somebody let me know what album the 100 track was featured on. You know what I'm saying? So the game actually has, made moves with Drake. That's why he's not going to diss Drake. You know what I mean? He kind of learned from what he did back in the day. The game learned a little bit from back in the day when he took so many shots at Hove. You know what I mean? He took so many shots at Hove, and look what happened. He got no response. He got no response. He never got to work with Hove. Now that I'm thinking about it, when his G Unit deal ran up or whatever, when the Interscope deal ran up, that's probably why he never got a relationship with Hove. That's why he never signed with Def Jam. You know what I mean? All these different things they kind of add up when you look at it in retrospect. Yep. And Colossal the Don points out that he is cool with Drake and he already went at Meek. He is cool with Drake, real cool with Drake. But yeah, I think now that him and Meek are cool, that he should sort of try to repair that relationship to the point where they could get money together. But that's not going to happen when you got conversations going on Drink Champs, the biggest platform, about a potential boxing match with your manager and the guy. You know what I mean? That shit's not going to make sense whatsoever. That shit's not going to make sense whatsoever, you guys. So, so this whole thing, right? this whole thing took a turn. This whole thing took a turn when 50 Cent was brought up into the conversation. It was said, what if do you think this is going to get 50 back involved, poking at Eminem? Wack said 50 is going to sit his old ass down. He don't want no problems with game. And if 50 jump on M song, they automatically lost, automatically. Now, I'm not sure I really buy into that, the automatic loss. I mean, if Eminem gets 50 Cent to appear on the track, on a diss track of all things, that's a little bit different than just linking up with Kanye West to record Easy. You know what I mean? It's going to be a little bit hard for the game to find somebody to associate themselves with on a track where they're actually dissing Eminem and 50 Cent. I just don't know who he would get to pair up with. Uh, so Wack also said another thing about this alleged diss from the game to Eminem. He had said, it's like, he said, put it like this: when he gets you on your own shit, you better be ready to respond. How many of them? He will change production on you 2 to 3 times. Whack 100 pretty much alleging that the game could potentially be recording on several of Eminem's known records. I think Twiz yesterday had suggested possibly I'm a Soldier. I'm thinking he might go a route of I'm thinking he might go the route of actually using some of Eminem's most popular songs. I think he might actually go off of Lose Yourself. I think the game might actually go off of the Real Slim Shady or The Way I Am. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking we could get a couple different tracks like that, sort of like how the game has done before, like all of his jacking for beats type episodes. So Game dissing Eminem on his beats. Game had 8 years to prepare. GMC says 50 ain't got time for that. We watching Power. I'm going to agree, man. I had said last night, I think, I kind of strongly believe if the game does diss 50 Cent, 50 and M may laugh about it. You know what I'm saying? 50 and M may laugh about it. 50 also may say, hey, this is why I told you back in the day that we had to put an end to this shit and you didn't want to do it because of, or whatever ended up happening. You know what I mean? Because we didn't hear everybody come together to go at the game like they all came together to go at Ja Rule. Ooh. Ooh, Colossal the Don is funny as hell. I don't see it. I don't see T Grizzly actually jumping on the track, to be 100% honest with you. I could not see that happening. And plus, it's like, is T Grizzly going to be enough when it comes to that, you guys? You know what I mean? Is it really going to be enough with, in this situation, it's like before on BET 106 and Park when 50 and Kanye were going at it. Kanye actually brought out Jay-Z. 50 said if he would have known that Ye was going to bring out Jay-Z, he would have brought out Eminem to contend, to live up to the appearance, you know what I mean? The legendary appearance of both of them having their big homies there. If Eminem and 50 Cent collaborate on a record, the game is going to need to come with another artist of a major stature. I mean, he's got Rick Ross in the tuck. He's got Ross in the tuck, but I don't know that Ross would necessarily be bigger than T Grizzly this day and age. Just to debunk that, Jason, nobody is sleeping on the game, bro. Nobody is sleeping on the game. I was actually defending the game pretty crazily last night against SV Twiz. You know what I'm saying? Me and Twiz were, we were debating it a little bit because I don't think the game is going to get walked over in this situation. Listen to what Wack just said there. He said that imagine getting beat on your own. What he didn't say beat, but imagine getting a diss track on your own beat and the game doing it. He said, put it like this: when he gets you on your own shit, when you get got on your own shit. But let's be real. The whole rumor is Eminem got Jay-Z on Renegade. I actually did an interview with Royce the 5'9". Royce explained that was a Eminem song. You know what I mean? That was a song that Eminem actually had in the cut. So you can look at it like that. Now, all these different beats, Lose Yourself, or what else do we got? Superman. What else do we got, you guys? What's another major beat that the game could do over an Eminem track? Maybe he gets a little My Band in there, maybe, you know what I'm saying? He could do all different types of shit. Hi, my name is. He could really take it all the way back in this situation, which I would think would be interesting. That's going to bring in so many different viewers. But if he actually uses Eminem's beats, isn't the record just going to get taken off of the internet like immediately? Like, isn't it like legitimately going to get removed from the internet immediately? The Stan beat, Stan. Oh my God. Ooh. He's gonna call 50 Cent Eminem's number one stan. Yup, the new one, Rap God. Tyson Garcia says Stan as well. Tyson Garcia says jacking for beats. That's not a new concept. Right. The game actually, when I first heard about the game, when I was first reading about the game, what the game's brother, Big Face, would do, he would actually take the game's music and he would put it on a tape and he would put it in between all of the classic. I'm pretty sure everybody knows this from watching the game's whole career. We all did. If you didn't, I mean, you're hearing it now, and I'm grateful for you to be watching me, and for you to be hearing about some of the history I know of. The game's brother actually put his music on compilations in between all of the different biggest artists in the game that everybody was listening to, and that's one of the ways that he got his brother's sound out there. Yep. Ocho, the real Slim Shady. Mockingbird. I don't know about Mockingbird. Do you think he's going to flip Mockingbird? Hell, it was another one of Eminem's platinum tracks. He could flip 20. He could flip 20. I don't doubt it. But how is he going to be able to take this on the internet? You know what I mean? Well, I mean, shit. No. Hold on. All these radio stations, when they have people come in, they have people rapping over other people's beats. But I'm just saying, what if the game did this and it got flagged worldwide and then you couldn't even watch it? Well, highly qualified. The game actually did link up with Ja Rule at one point, and nobody really cared. Nobody really cared, highly qualified, I remember that the game put Ja Rule on a song. It wasn't only the two of them. They might have a cut just together, but the game put Ja on a compilation track with I think it was with probably Fat Joe and Jadakiss. And nobody really cared. It was odd to me. It was like, wow. It was like, wow. Rule's credibility has been diminished to the point where nobody even cares about him getting on a track with 50 Cent's biggest foe. You know what I mean? But obviously, Ja is, arguably 50's biggest foe. But people say people say Rick Ross were 50's biggest foes as well. Tyson says he might flip Renegade and have a feature. I don't see Jay-Z doing that to Eminem, Tyson. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying a big feature. Like Kanye West jumped on easy, but Kanye West isn't dissing Eminem. You know what I mean? Kanye's not dissing Eminem. I just don't see it. What's the point? You know what I mean? I just don't see it, man. And Ja Rule or Benzino, who apparently just ended the beef with Eminem as well. Any of these situations, you know what I mean? Any of these situations, I don't think it will add up to Eminem and 50 on a track together. But let's be honest. If you guys want me to be honest, I'm nothing but honest on the show, y'all. 50 and M haven't made a good record together since Patiently Waiting. You know what I mean? All their follow-up records have been garbage. I mean, unless you're talking about Hail Mary, you know what I mean, with Busta Rhymes. I mean, unless you're talking about that, but I want to, yeah. So, what was the time frame on that? What came out first, Hail Mary or Patiently Waiting? I would have to say Patiently Waiting came out first. But anyways, um, so since those two cuts, you know what I mean? They really haven't had any good tracks. So let's just say this. Eminem and 50 have not had any good commercially released tracks since Patiently Waiting. They followed that up with Gatman and Robin, which I found to be horrid. I found that song to be horrible. They followed that up with Peep Show. They followed that up with Peep Show. I really didn't like either of these records. And then they had one, I think it was called My Life with Adam Levine, which ultimately I don't think ever found a home on any project. Let me know if I'm wrong, though, in the chat if you're watching this on demand, or let me know uh, in the comments, whatever. Did that record with Adam Levine, 50 Cent, and Eminem ever find a home? That was one of the early you know, ideas that you got, that there was conflict with 50 and Dre and Jimmy, obviously, because of the fact that 50 was actually promoting his own audio, you know what I mean? His own sound, his own headphone line, his own different, all these different little gadgets he was promoting and shit. You know what I mean? So that right there, you really got an idea that there could be issues with 50, Dre, Jimmy, and Interscope. The guy who was at one point called Curtis Interscope Jackson could have some issues. Later on, we would hear 50 address these issues on mixtapes, not on official albums, more than likely because Interscope was the one releasing the official albums, though. Oh, shit. Oh, Cordero, Faulkner. Sorry if I butchered your name, bro. I appreciate you for tapping in. How are they follow-up records? Garbage. Crack a Bottle won a Grammy. Crack a Bottle, bro? You're really going to come at me with Crack a Bottle? You are seriously going to come at me with Crack a Bottle right now? Go and crack a bottle. No, no, that song was not it. That song was not it. But obviously, it's much better than Gatman and Robin and Peep Show, just to be 100% real. But that record, I don't think that record even had that much commercial success. If you remember, 50 released a record with Young Jeezy and Snoop Dogg, right? That record, big buzz to start it off, no commercial success. Papoose and Snoop Dogg, big buzz, no commercial success to release the album. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about facts backed up with facts from the past. But I'm saying, okay, it was commercially released, but boom, it was horrible in comparison to Patiently Waiting. 50 and M gave us a classic with Patiently Waiting, like it was serious. You know what I mean? It wasn't cookie cutter. It was like, damn, that's why some people said 50 and M should do an album together, which I thought should have been the Re-Up album. Personally, I've said that before. A lot of people said 50 and M should do an album together. After Gatman and Robin and Peep Show dropped, there wasn't too many people saying that any longer. It was like, all right, we're good on this. We're good. Yep, I remember. And what album did it drop on Codeo? Hope I'm saying your name at least decently right, because I do appreciate you for joining the live and adding in. Because I forgot about Crack a Bottle, man. Obviously, I was a big, uh, I was big on that record releasing. You know what I mean? I thought it was gonna have something to do with Detox, actually, man. I didn't think it had to do with 50's album so much as Detox. My Life sold 140,000 units in the first week. But what do you mean My Life, bro? What do you mean My Life, bro? Because My Life was a single. Yeah, King 007. I think you're right, bro. It's all about timing when it comes to that shit. Uh, so let's get back into it here, man. So Wack actually said that he pretty much ended the beef with 50 Cent in the game. You know what I mean? He pretty much said he made the pairing back between these guys. Wack said that I put the bridge together 4 years ago. They talked 18 times on camera. They talked 18 times on camera. Wack 100 ended the beef with the game. Wow. Wow, man. That's kind of news to me. Boom. Salute, salute, salute. Yeah, man. I'm just listening to your perspective and adding a little bit of mine in it, to be 100% honest with you. The single sold 140,000 first week. So I guess it was well on its way to going gold. But let's be 100% honest. When we got Adam Levine, if I'm Mikey T, the movie star, and I've had major albums like Get Rich or Die Trying, Mikey T or Die Trying, and then The Massacre, or which what I would probably recall The Movie Star. If I had these two dope ass albums out and they went diamond, they sold 5 million, and now I'm making my way over to the pop charts. I'm like, yo, man, I need to spread my wings. Never mind selling 10 million on an album. I want to go link up with Adam Levine from Maroon 5, and I want to sell 5 million on one record. No, 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 no. Matter of fact, let's bring Eminem into the equation and let's sell Diamond 10 million on one record. And what happened? He sold, as my guy said here, they sold 140,000 first week. That is what you call a letdown, y'all. That is honestly what you call a letdown in a situation, man. I honestly look at it as a letdown. The fact that all three of those guys came together and only sold 140,000. Wasn't that supposed to be the leadoff single for the Street King Immortal album, which we still have not got? And that's not to throw any shade at 50 Cent, man, because 50 Cent does a lot of great shit. You know what I'm saying? He does a lot of great shit, man. I'm a big power of the dollar guy. Yo, 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 James, what's popping, man? Well, we're about to get one of the major quotes that I think defines today's video, and it's pretty much what happened with Jimmy Iovine and the game, Interscope Records in the game. You know what I'm saying? Because Interscope is the foundation for all of these labels. Interscope is the foundation for Aftermath, for Shady, that went on to, give birth to the G units. You know what I'm saying? They tried with the Chief Keefs. They went in with the Soldier Boys. Interscope was the foundation for all of these musicians that were given opportunities to go out there and make billions of dollars in the open market of hip hop. Jimmy Iovine gave all of these guys that opportunity. So what went wrong with Jimmy Iovine in the game? The game was signed to Dr. Dre, first of all. They didn't really know where to go with the project. Then 50 Cent came in. I don't know when the game actually linked up with Dr. Dre. It must have, I wonder if it was 2002 or '01, or because the game was running around. He had said several times he was running around Death Row Studios, actually was running around with Puff. You know what I mean? And then he said Puff was the one. Game actually said Puff was the one who said you need to be with Dre. Maybe need to reanalyze that because that sounds a little bit odd to me. How a West Coast dude needs Diddy to tell him that Dr. Dre would be the one for him. Ooh, King 007. Back when MGK ate his food. That sounds like a really bad way, King, to promote this battle. Like, I don't get it. Why is the game saying that MGK ate Eminem's food? You know what I mean? Why is he saying that he ate Eminem's food? That kind of makes me go, okay, so you're saying MGK beat Eminem in a lyrical battle? Like, then what's the point of you doing it, man? If we just saw Eminem get his ass kicked, what's the point of witnessing another? Like, it ruins the, like, when you when somebody loses in a boxing match, like, you don't automatically go, oh, I want to see their next one. You know what I mean? Like, ultimately, I mean, shit, take it back to Pacquiao and Bradley. When Pacquiao had lost that with that decision, it ruined a lot of people's expectation for Pacquiao and Mayweather, just to be 100% real. So I don't get why the game, if that's what he did, is going on there and saying that MGK ate Eminem's food. You know what I mean? I mean, the only thing I think MGK ate was that bowl of freaking oatmeal or cereal. You know what I'm saying? He woke up a beast in Eminem. But look what it did. Look what it did, because when Eminem replied, MGK's next shit went triple. MGK's first album on Bad Boy sold like 50,000 units. His second album sold 50,000 units. His third album sold 50,000 units. That fourth EP sold 24,000 units. After that, he sold 130,000 units. And then on his new one, he sold another 140,000 units. MGK's sales have tripled, you guys. Major salute to Germany. Appreciate you for tapping in, Taylor. If you're not subscribed to the channel, anybody, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe right now so you never miss my live videos. Let's keep going here. So Wack was asked, like, will Eminem acknowledge this? Will Eminem even respond to this now that they're sending all these teasers out there about a potential battle? Wack said he won't have no choice. Wack said he won't have no choice. I mean, like he had brought up, like the fact that Eminem has been dissing guys like Nick Cannon and he's been dissing, you know what I'm saying, Machine Gun Kelly. And this isn't to take anything away from Machine Gun Kelly's lyrical prowess. You know what I mean? Because Machine Gun Kelly went on the Breakfast Club one time and Charlemagne was calling him out and he sat there and he rapped right in front of Charlemagne's face. You know what I'm saying? And he proved himself, in all honesty. So this isn't to take away from anything like that, but I think this will be Eminem's best challenger yet. I don't think Eminem has really been challenged like this if we really look back to his beefs. Like, let's really look back to any beef that Eminem has participated in, you guys. Any lyrical battle that Eminem has participated in. I don't think he has had a contender like The Game, you all. So this might say a lot. You know what I mean? I never really thought about it like that until I just said it right now. You know what I mean? But this is actually going to be like, unless I'm wrong, I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think Eminem has had a worthy an opponent as The Game, somebody with multiple hit records, number one albums, high ranking selling albums. Cordero says M is not going to respond to dude. If he does, I'd be shocked. Uh, I Cordero, I think he's got to respond due to the fact that he has responded to everybody else. When he took a slight jab at, I think he slightly jabbed Little Pump and then he Machine Gun Kelly and whoever else. You know what I mean? I don't remember it because I don't really pay attention to the name calling, to be honest with you. Now, when it turns into diss tracks back and forth, then it turns into something. And that's what happened with Machine Gun Kelly. He took offense to a line. He made a diss song. Eminem actually responded, you guys. Eminem actually responded to the diss song. So I say if Game comes out with something that amazing, why wouldn't? Why wouldn't Eminem respond? And it's more than a why wouldn't. It's a he has to. It's a he has to protect you know, what he is as an artist. You know what I mean? If we see the Game come in, because I'm pretty sure back in the day when all these diss tracks, Eminem was Game never really took a shot at him. Now, that's probably because of the fact that Game knew back then if he dissed Eminem or Dr. Dre, that he was really gonna end everything. See, man, now I got to read all the comments. You know what I'm saying? You got some dudes coming in here trying to go rogue and ruin it for everybody. But I love everybody that taps in, man, and shares the great comments, man, and adds to the conversation. Like Alex here. Thanks, man. He says, I think it'll really depend on how personal the diss is. In the grand scheme of things, Eminem is on a whole other level. The Game is good, but how many people have the Game in their top five? Yeah, I think the Game is more of a top 15. I think the Game is more of a top 20 type of artist, to be 100% honest with you. You know what I mean? The Game is really good. The Game is really good, but a lot of other people like your Jadas who make the list, your Fabs who make the list over the Game. A lot of these artists have really improved. You know what I mean? Like Jada seems to get better. Fab seems to get better. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys that are on that make the top list, you know what I mean? They are due to like get better. Or you got people like a Snoop Dogg who be on many people's top 10. You know what I mean? They came out really strong, but then they also held an iconic relevance. The Game, when he left Interscope, he went to an independent record label. I didn't think that was the best move because of the fact that he still had a lot of like power in the industry. He could have commanded a pretty dope deal at that point. I think he should have went and got the big money bag, and look what he did. Look what he did. The man released 4 or 5 different albums since he went independent, so he could have closed out that deal with another major. But like I said a little bit earlier, the fact that he was beefing with Jay-Z from so early in his career, I think it might have closed some doors. Now remember, Jay-Z, I guess Jay-Z and LA Reid were over at Def Jam together, from what I was hearing. Because I do remember when LA Reid left Def Jam, he actually went to Epic Records. So if Jay and LA Reid have that relationship where they weren't going to sign Game, that could have been a reason as to why the Game didn't sign with Epic, who was the most popular label at the time. But I mean, you have so many different labels, man. I just don't get why the Game went independent after he was like, he went back to being who he was, but with all the fame. You know what I mean? But he was known as the Game. It's like, bro, you are the Game now. You are everything that you fought to be for your whole life. You know what I mean? To get that notoriety, you have an opportunity right now to go get. Chief Keef got a $6 million check for 3 albums or something like that. This is your chance to go get that 10 to 20 million dollar check, man. Go get that shit. But a lot of people like to take the independent route, when they started hearing all the artists talking about making $7, $8 off a record. And then when they heard the other info about making 79 cents off of a record, you know what I mean? Well, shit, the latter, they're going to help you sell 13 million records. What's 13 million times 79 cents? It's like $13 million. Someone's in the chat like, no, Mike, it is actually $9,850,000. Yo, T2, I appreciate you tapping in on the conversation today, man. I was talking about it last night with Eminem, the game. I guess there's a potential diss track. And, just one more thing struck me. It was this whole way in which 50 reacted to the game running into Jimmy Iovine. He laughed at him, said a little one-liner. You know what I mean? Oh, 50, get this guy out of here. 50 is the one who makes the records. He had that little one-liner in there. And you know, I don't think a lot of people saw into this thing the right way. You know what I mean? So we got a lot of information about it here. Wack 100 actually went back and said that 50 Cent is the one who caused the issue with Jimmy and the game. It's pretty freaking crazy, you guys. Wack said, that's why I couldn't understand 50. You already knew when the game and Jimmy Iovine fell out. So we're going to rewind here, but that's what we're ultimately going to get to. You already knew when the game and Jimmy Iovine fell out. So it's like I was saying, this whole Eminem, the game situation, and when it comes to a battle diss track, there's going to be a lot of information that we don't know. You know what I mean? A lot of information that we're not privy to. We don't know what 50 Cent told Jimmy Iovine behind the scenes. I don't understand how you go to somebody behind the scenes and be like, yo, the game isn't good for business, man. What are you talking about? The game just sold 600,000 units first week. What are you talking about, 50? The game just sold 600K. He sold like 20K short of 600,000 first week. And you're telling me he's bad? I understand, Fifth, what you said about Styles P. I get it. It's only going to come out, sell 60, 70,000 units. I hear what you're saying. It actually sold 80, by the way. And that's after we pushed it back 8 months. So thank you, Fifth. But this project with the game, no, it's got to stay with Interscope, man. It's got to stay with Interscope. He just sold 600,000. Can you apologize to him? Can you guys maybe do some sort of a press conference? Like, this is kind of how I believe, like, I kind of imagine it going. Well, Dominique, let me just point out Snoop acquiring a label, acquiring Death Row, and also let me just put out all the endorsements. Now, let me put out all the endorsements that Snoop has between all the different commercials, all the different movies that he has done as well. Snoop is a little bit more accomplished as an actor, I would have to say, than 50. I mean, unless you're going to say 50, in the Power Show, I'm talking about feature films. You know what I mean? 50 kind of got a little shaky when it came to feature films. But also, when I'm speaking about Jada and Fab in comparison to guys like 50 and Snoop, Jada and Fab continued to progress with their music, whereas 50 and Snoop continued to, progress as themselves, selling their own characters. 50 a little bit more than selling his image, because 50 has gone on to do a lot of writing and, just telling stories, even these books that he does and shit, you know? Nice, Courtney. Thank you, Courtney Alford. Mikey T, the song 100 is on the documentary too. Yeah, that's one of the major reasons that you're not going to get the game going at Drake, because when it's all said and done, people like Drake, because of the stature that the game has and that the game has created, like they're going to pay game mind. Like, look at Drake recording on the documentary too. That was one of the game's last albums that actually did some units. The game actually followed that up with the documentary 2.5. So you got to know that we're going to be getting the documentary 3 at some point. The game is in that top 5, Mikey. You tripping right now? Nah, not really, bro. I mean, if you need me to break down a top 5, I mean, even a top 10, you got obviously you got Pac and Big who are above game. You've got Jay, you've got Nas, you've got you've got 50, you've got Lil Wayne. All these guys, in my opinion, you got Snoop, you've got Outkast. I'm saying all these guys are above the game. That's why I gave the game top 15, bro. Mm, uh, uh, this whole debate of the game not being able to make a song without a feature, you know what I mean? They kind of say that about everybody. You know what I mean? They said it about Ja. They said it about French Montana a whole hell of a lot. You know what I mean? They always like to try to hit people with the one hit wonder thing. King 007 says, I'm just happy we're bringing that competitive spirit in hip hop again. James said, think about this for a minute. Look at all this artists now going independent, and the game has been independent. Yeah, James, that's why I was kind of looking at it. And it's like the game has released a number of albums on the independent circuit. I feel like if he would have just, and maybe my numbers are totally wrong, but I feel like he could have taken his talents to any number of labels, at that point when he finally got done with his commitments at Interscope. I feel like he could have taken his album to any label at that point and got a major bag. Or maybe they ran him a little bit too dry. You know what I mean? Maybe he was running a little bit too dry with all the albums like Jesus Peace, the Red Album, you know what I'm saying? Maybe he got ran a little dry. Boom says Snoop is a global celebrity. James Brown sending a shout out to the chat. Uh, Salute, respect to Mikey T and all the hip hop family on the chat. Yeah, Boom says game is not top 5. Come on, Cordeo, man. The game has had about 5, 6, 7 albums that we can, maybe even more than that we can actually name off the top of our head, man. Like, so let's give the game a little bit of respect, man. I'm saying the game has to be, yeah, you got to remember people like Scarface. You got to, you know what I mean? You got to remember certain people shit, you know what I mean? Even E40, if we're talking California, you know what I mean? You got to remember these people who have really shaped the game and shit like that. A lot of different people. I mean, shit, I'm a big Rick Ross and Yo Gotti guy, you know what I mean? But obviously, I came into knowing about game a little bit earlier than Ross, a few years before Yo Gotti. You know what I mean? Knew about Yo Gotti, but then Yo Gotti really started to take off, take off. Rick Ross, you got some rumblings about Ross early on with Trina, you know what I mean? But then when Ross really started early, I think he was going by 2006. I think his second album had already come out. Am I right or am I wrong? Let me do a little fact check. We do a little fact check. Sometimes we do that here on the channel. Sometimes we do that, but I usually go on memory. Yeah, no, I was wrong. Excuse me. Triller was 2008. Crazy, 2008, because after that he really got on, because 2006 he dropped Port of Miami, his first album, right after Jay had signed him Def Jam and shit. And then he actually dropped his second album 2 years later. But after that, he dropped an album every single year. He dropped an album every single year, 2009, 10. Well, he waited 2 years for God Forgives I Don't. Wow, another 2 years for Mastermind. And then he actually dropped 2 albums in 2014. Mastermind followed by Hood Billionaire. I think that was due to Meek Mill's album getting pushed back because he got locked up. Highly qualified. Don't do that, bro. Don't do that. Game is top 20. Game is top 20, arguably top 15. Brian says Game is on the top 20 list. Prodigy, I love Prodigy's music, man. Um, but it's a hard comparison, you guys. It's a really, really hard comparison. You guys don't want me to do it. All right, I'm putting up a poll for you guys since they want to say since my man T2 brought up Prodigy. I want to know, what do you guys think? What album do y'all got? HNIC from Prodigy, or do you got The Game, the documentary? So let me get into this real quick. So Wack said that's why I couldn't understand 50 in regard to his, comments that he made that I was talking about a little bit earlier, when 50 had said Jimmy Iovine was like, who is this guy? 50 does the records, as if I don't know. You think Jimmy Iovine's really running around bumping in the club? You know what I mean? Is that on his is that on his iPod? I mean, I'm sure it's in there in the one of the folders, but is that really his to go to, when he's driving around or being driven in his Tesla? I'm not too sure. Is How We Do on that list? Is he really thinking about the 50 hooks as much as we all were back in 2005, 2003, 2002? Shit, I'm really bigger on the G Unit hooks, to be honest with you, where 50 was reincorporating his own thoughts onto all those popular records. So Wack was like, that's why I couldn't understand 50. You already knew when The Game and Jimmy Iovine fell out, because it was over you. Because it was over you. Don't act like you don't know them two men. Don't talk ever. Don't act like you don't know that them two men don't talk ever. Interesting. Interesting right there. See, that's what I mean. There's so much shit behind the scenes that we just don't know, because we're watching it we're on the outside looking in, and we don't really know. Like, so Game and 50 have this argument, and now 50 is kind of looking over the Game, and he's like, yeah, I know you don't talk to Jimmy Iovine anymore. You've lost a major piece to the puzzle. As I explained a little bit earlier, Jimmy Iovine and Interscope are major pieces to anybody's puzzle, man. Once you find that piece, it's like everything just starts to make sense and the picture starts to take shape, you know? So Wack had said, that's why I couldn't understand 50. You already knew when The Game and Jimmy Iovine fell out, because it was over you. But like I said, the general public doesn't know that. So it's on 50. He's able to manipulate a situation to make us think whatever we want to think, or make us laugh at whatever he thinks is funny. You know what I mean? It's like a comedian. When you got a platform with 25 million people watching you, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you're gonna make them laugh. You know what I mean? I mean, shit, the Game was going in on 52 over hanging upside down. He said, don't act like you don't know them two men don't talk ever. It got so bad, he transferred him out of the Interscope because of it. That's when the Game went to Geffen. And I do believe he meant that's where they transferred him out of Aftermath, because let me check this. Oh shit. So Interscope, Geffen, A&M Records. It's a umbrella label owned by Universal Music Group. Let me see. Yep, Universal Music Group owns all of them. Yep, Universal Music Group owns all of them. But yeah, Geffen is let me see. You're funny. Tahoe over Tesla? I don't know, bro. I don't think Steve will do it would agree. Steve will do it. Says Teslas are good, so I 100% agree with him on that. But let me get back into this because I wanted to go into the game's albums here a little bit, but I wanted to just see what was going on with Geffen and Interscope because of the way that Wack worded it right there. Guys, I am smoking some good runts though. Yeah, Black Wall Street, Geffen. Okay. Yep. So he was removed from Interscope. Yep. Interscope never returned to his albums. Yep. Oh, until the Jesus Piece album, Interscope actually returned. So yeah, that's an interesting note. Brian says Game's second best album was LAX after the documentary. I think it's pretty much in order of release, to be honest with you. I think it's pretty much in order of release with the Game's album. But yeah, man. So that's just kind of crazy, you know. Game got transferred out of Interscope Records, transferred over to Geffen. You know what I mean? He got transferred over to Geffen Records, and after that point, the game's record sales never were the same again. Now, if you're going to attribute that to the label change, or if you're going to attribute that to 50 Cent not being present, or Dr. Dre not being present, so the creative energy that the game had just it wasn't the same. You know what I mean? We never got records like Hate It or Love It. We never got records like How We Do Again from the game. Let me check out the poll real quick. Wow. All right. So Prodigy HNIC is actually leading in the poll. Vote in the poll right now, you guys. About to end it out, about to end out the poll so everybody can get their last votes in right now. I'm going to give you all about 2 minutes to vote in the poll. If you haven't, HNIC regarded as a really, really dope album from Prodigy. Obviously, the documentary regarded as one of the game's best albums. I'm gonna go ahead and say it's his best. I'm gonna put it over. The Doctor's Advocate. He's got a couple edges on that album, man. Just a couple. You know what I'm saying? He edges it out just because of the production, because of some of the features. Like you got Yayo on there on Running. I don't think he had another track like Running. I don't think he had another Start from Scratch. I'm pretty sure. Well, he had Nas on his second album, Busta on his first album, so that's comparable. Yep. Yep. Brian, did you think Jesus Piece was doper than the Red album? That's one thing I was thinking about flipping them back and forth. But I'm pretty much saying the game's albums are in order of release. Cordero says, I love the Doctor's Advocate, but the documentary was his best one. Guys, I really appreciate y'all for tapping in on the conversation today. I'm going to end the poll. I'm really glad to read that HNIC actually edged out the documentary. Like, wow, I love it, man. I love the fact that we got great fans in here of hip hop. I want everybody watching this video to actually follow me on Instagram. If you're watching now or watching on demand, everybody that follows me, I will follow back. Everybody that follows me right now on the gram, I will follow you guys back. I really appreciate it, man. I really do appreciate it. And I will tap in with y'all on another day, man. Icy, icy, icy. Major salute. Thank you. Thank you, Alex, for tapping in. James, Brian, everybody, man. I'll see y'all on the next episode. Salute.